just say this is the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club, the ARDC Grant Weekly Update for Monday, October 20th, 2025. Okay, so we'll start off talking about the racks. And the question that was just asked, Mark, say that again. What was your question again?
My question is, you have the equipment on those racks. For maintenance purposes, it's always easier when you have stuff in racks if they can slide forward with enough slack on the cable so you can repair it without removing it.
Oh, right.
Is it capable of being done with this?
Well, you could, and let me zoom in because it'd be easier to see. So if you take a look here, so what those sliders are is they go on the side of, well, it's not a
Yeah.
great picture,
They
but
can
they
either
go,
go on the side or on the shelf that it's sitting on.
yeah, but we don't have them in the budget. And I mean, oh, let's take a look at it. Let's see, we might be able to, that's,
Well, the reason for that is you don't have to tear the whole system apart if you have to either remove or work on a piece of equipment.
yeah, the problem is then you have to do it. You have to do the cabling. You need a certain cable harness so that when you pull the equipment out, you have enough latitude, enough cable so
Well,
the cable comes with it. Yeah.
you have to be neat
Right. That's a
about it.
good idea. I mean, it's a great idea. We'll look into that. So
Because every rack that I've dealt with that doesn't have that turns into a rat's nest with wires behind it.
yeah, and we want to avoid that. I mean, I would like to do this at a craftsmanship level, that we could put it in a magazine if we wanted to write a magazine article about it. And so that's why I was interested in that smaller rack, the new modern rack, because it gives it a kind of more of a sense of cutting edge technology. But as I look at these pictures here, and you can see from a practical standpoint, I think the rack on the left might be the way we want to go.
Yeah, I just always look at this as you want to make sure that it can be repaired by the next person who may not have the access of the information you had 5 years earlier.
Well, I
You
will
run
say
into
that,
this now trying to
yeah,
repair other stuff with the wiring. So if you don't have to tear the thing apart to get at something,
right.
slide it out, work in place, it makes that a lot easier.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
That rack on the left is on casters. On the bottom, you could probably, unlock it and pull it out from the wall, or just simply keep it offset off the wall so you can access the backside and get to any rear panels, rear
Yeah, but I'm talking about
connections
getting like the
needed.
top panel, taking the top off to get inside for an alignment or stuff like that as well on these racks.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what they're made for.
on each individual device or piece or repeater or whatever. I gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they slide out. I'm trying to pull up another picture, if I can find it real quick. Okay, so here, what is that, 81? Hold on. So let's just take a look at what we have here for a minute. Hold on. Oh, come on. Oh, here. Okay, so check this out for a second. Where are we? All right, so what were you saying about a rat's nest or something?
I've seen worse,
Yeah,
but
so this is
that's bad.
exactly what we don't want to do, right? And well, hold on. Let me just give a lot of credit to a lot of people who've done a lot of stuff, and over the years, this isn't like one person did this. I mean, this is over the years. With the initial equipment that was put in, it was done brilliantly. And stuff happens, things change, and we have to adapt. And so you do a little here, a little there, and then before you know it, it looks like this. So this is what we don't want.
Yeah, I
And-
like that Altoids isolation case there.
I'm sorry, the what? Oh,
There's
this
there's
here.
an
Yeah,
Altoids isolation
right.
case.
What that is, what that is that's where there's circuitry that removes the CT/CSS tones. That's it. That's the filter right there. It is this. Here, let me that Altoids box, and I have a close-up. I don't have it here in this presentation, but I have. We opened it up, and I have pictures of it. I'll give it to you. But where are we here? Here. So that Altoids box is this thing right here.
And it mints the frequency for a nice clean sound.
It does. And we are the smooth sound of the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club. All right. Anyway, let's get on with it here.
We might want to acknowledge the people that have joined us here.
I think that would
Phil's joined us.
I think that would be a grand idea. Let's acknowledge all those who are here. Oh, let's just acknowledge everybody who's here. First, I just want to say thank you for taking time on a Monday after a Monday evening here. We have Mark W8MAF, Les KF8UU, John W8TOY, and Phil K8PR. Hello, Phil. Hugh is here.
Hello.
Parliamentarian. Hello, Phil. KE8BED, Al, K8ALH, and Mark, KB8UNX. All righty. All righty. So, and just so there. Oh, sorry. Okay. Anyway, so welcome. Thank you. All right. So today, a couple things we're going to do a little bit different this time. We were just talking about this before, but let's just start off here with some numbers, some hard numbers. When we first started this project and we were granted this $26,741.73, so the question is how we're going to divide it up. So what I basically did, just as a guideline, is I went through there's a list as part of the agreement, and the agreement has a list. I did the best that I could to kind of divide things up into these various categories to help make it a little bit easier for us to tracked as we go along. So with that, and alongside that, of course, Bob has his version, and that's this here. And you can see we've had three expenditures here for the data link, the RF data link, then the duplexer for $9,300, $9,400 for the duplexer, and then so this is a little unexpected cost, that $888 that was due to the tariff that was added after we submitted the purchase order. Anyway, so that's where we were there. So what I did is I took those numbers just to see where we are exactly. And here you can see the antenna, the duplexer, the isolator, and dummy load. Did we really buy Heliax? Len, is there Heliax?
It hasn't arrived yet.
Okay. I don't know how we ordered Heliax and we don't know how long it's going to be, but okay. And the connectors and all that. Then this is the for the data link, the RF data link, and then the increase for the duplexer. The bottom line is basically this. Is we estimated $9,130 for all that. We did pretty okay. I mean, considering an $888 cost that we weren't expecting. So the actuals was about $9,400, right? And so, all right, we're $238 in the hole. So, okay. And when I say in the hole, take it for what it really means. I'm just saying against that ideal pie chart that we set up just to, as a starting point. So okay, we're not doing horrible there.
Joe, I do see that signal boost. You got 25 feet of low density coax cable.
Yeah, right here.
Heliax low density foam coax. I don't know what the a Heliax foam coax cable.
Yeah, it's low loss cable, right? Heliax, yeah.
So you guys got 25 feet of it according to this.
I know, but this stuff has to be cut to length.
Yeah, and you got your adapters, right?
Yeah. Anyway, all right, doesn't matter. If it's ordered, it's done. But okay. So right, so it's in there. I mean, from a cost standpoint, we've got it. So it's okay. All right, anyway, so we're doing pretty good from that standpoint. So that's the antenna system, okay? A couple of things that I didn't account for, but I have received late word from headquarters that the ground bus bar, in fact, is delivered.
Yes.
So I can add that and the lightning protection. It's called the polyphaser. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So you can see kind of where we are on that. All right. So now looking forward, let's look forward to what we have to do now. So first of all, FM repeater. So that's the SLR 8000. Okay. So I've got that just penciled in at about 6,000 for that. Okay. We'll give up on the equipment rack thing. So we'll put that $600 back in. The repeater controller, based on, and again, these are based on estimates that are available on the internet. We could probably do a little bit better, perhaps, but $300. The issue with the Arcom RC210 is that it's not in production anymore, and so there's not a lot of choice there. The voter, for example, we got 500 in there. Depending on how things go, that may be a little bit low. I'm not sure. And then we allocated $500 for each of the four receivers. And when I say receivers, these are not the receivers that are at the remote sites. These are the receivers that are at the main site that is receiving the auxiliary link. Okay, so we got 500 there. So roughly speaking, we're set to spend about another 10K and about another $10,000 there. Now, VHF networking. Okay, so VHF networking. Oh, there's nothing there. Okay, well, there's a reason there's nothing there, and that's because we hadn't really given it the attention it really deserves. And especially when you consider that the grant is from the Amateur Radio Digital Communications group there. So networking and internet connectivity and all that is pretty important here. So what I did was, after speaking with David, and so and what David was basically saying was, look, we need a plan. What are we doing? And he's right. I went back and I go through my stuff, and it's like there was nothing there. So what I did was I got out my pencil and paper, went over to the Fifth Tavern there, got out my pencil and paper, and I sketched this on a notepad that I had. And so this is the big picture. Now, keep in mind that we're designing an entire network. We're not building it. We're designing it. We have to do it that way because in order to do the IP scheme, the IP addressing scheme, we need to understand what the big picture could be so that we're only going to build a little portion of this right now, but we still need to have our networking address scheme able to be expandable so that given time, we can expand out to the other sites. Now, what you're seeing here is basically this. As you can see, I have the northwest site and the northeast site, the southwest, the southeast. Well, we know that the northeast is really the hospital, right? And we know the southeast is really for the most part, it's the airport, okay? This was our site. Where was it? It was, I forgot the name of the town there, but it was towards M, down
Belleville.
towards
Belleville.
Belleville, that's right. Thank you. Thank you. It was down in Belleville. And then the north side, of course, was out at the planetarium there. So, and the Dart UHF and the Dart VHF. Okay, so here's the point. What this is showing is it's showing three important aspects of this. One is our terrestrial. Well, first of all, one is that we're installing these 5 gigahertz links so that we can have our network extend to all of our various places. Initially, it's only going to be the idea is to be between the VHF and UHF repeaters. Once we understand the technology behind that and we get the flow of how things go, we can expand that out to the other sites. So that's one connectivity. The second connectivity is terrestrial internet. Okay. Now that's practical from the VHF, maybe even from the UHF. But the problem is you can't really have terrestrial internet from the remote locations unless there's a access point nearby. But to pay for internet at each of the remote sites, on a monthly basis, I don't know how practical that would really be, and versus the benefit that we would get from it. But so that's that. But that is an idea, and when we do the addressing scheme, we have to keep that in mind and reserve some space, some addresses for that. Then the third internet access is satellite internet. Okay, using like uh, 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 the service there, the SpaceX service. Anyway, so that's the general idea. So fine. So we took that, then you take all that, you plug it in the computer, and you come up with the addressing scheme. Okay. So that's what all this is. David's not with us, so I'll skip the details. But basically, what that brings us to, what we do care about is this gives us our network connectivity at the northwest receiver, the northeast receive site, so on and so forth. So this is a /24 here, and the loop back. Oh, the loop back. So we want to do a loop back test. Okay, so there is a slash. All right, whatever. And these numbers need to be confirmed. Okay, these came out of the computer, and they look close, but we have to double check everything by hand. And then here's the RF links. This would be the IP scheme for the various RF links that we're talking about. And there's five links here I have. Yeah, so for 5 links. So that's what that setup would be. Now, importantly, so here is so this would be our local scheme. Well, not yet. So hold on. These are the VPNs. I'm not sure exactly what this is. We'll take a look at that. We'll get David. I was really hoping. Okay. Anyway, okay. So again, now to be absolutely clear, what's enclosed in red boxes here are the items that are going to be connected via the internet. In other words, when we set up this network, not only is it included everything in the network area, but we want the receivers to have a connection. We want the voter, the controller, the repeater itself. And also here, this is a piece of test equipment, and this will be replaced with a spectrum analyzer, a multiple input spectrum analyzer, so that we have one on site and we can remotely access it. And then these are the various VLANs. One is for repeater control, one is for test equipment like the spectrum analyzer, one is for the backhaul of the UHF receivers, and so on and so forth. So anyway, that's that. So you take that one step further. This is the IP scheme for our local area in Oak Park for that particular one. So we're pretty good to go. What I would strongly suggest, experience has shown that however many ports we need, we double that, because the growth, for sure, we're going to grow, and to not have expansion built into it. So maybe we only need, I don't know, a 12 port switch. We'll get a 24 port switch, just so we have the extra room to grow in the future. All right, so that's that. I did want to get an update, but I have that. This is the test that we did with the duplexers. We won't go through all the details of it this week, but we were able to do that, and I got some really great data and really appreciate the opportunity to be able to do it, and would like one more opportunity to do some of these charts here so we could fill them into the extra class license course there. So these are the various characteristics of it: the band pass, the band pass, and the band stop portions of the curve, and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. So now for the main attraction, I want to talk about repeaters tonight. I do. So this is the repeater that we're looking at. And then these are some of the options that we can order with it. I want to quickly go through each of the options and I will tell you my take on it. And if you have anything to say, please let me know. So first of all, the first item, the internal pre-select bandpass filtering. I mean, we have an experience back when all that telephone equipment and the general RF environment was very hot. This bandpass filtering would have been very, very effective, and I think that the Dart would have had a much better response. So I think that that's something probably worth considering. The next decision that has to be made, the internal antenna relay switching module. I'm not sure what that would be for. Now here it says it removes the need for an external transmit receive switch hardware in some installations. It's not in our installation. We don't have we don't have a switching. We have a duplexer, so that's off the table. The four-wire circuit. I don't think we need the four-wire circuit. Back in the day, we used balanced four wires for all kinds of different things, but that's pretty much a pre-internet method. It's a very analog method, so we won't be doing that. The dual redundant power supply and battery backup, absolutely, without even thinking about it, we'll put it for that option. The cooling and ventilation fans, okay. I mean, that would certainly make sense. So the next item, the Ethernet IP interface modules and software and licensing. That's something that we certainly want to continue, we want to have access and be able to have the IP interface modules. Factory frequency programming and calibration. Oh, absolutely. Warranty, duplexer cavities. Well, we've got that squared away. The programming cables and accessory cables and alarm and telemetry control line. So those are some of the options that we'll be putting in with our order there. So now here are just a few things I want to go through before we order this, okay? So number one, analog FM support. Yes, this unit does support analog FM. And this is something that it was brought up at breakfast yesterday or Saturday morning. The difference between DMR and Moto Turbo DMR and whether the two are configurable or are usable. And so maybe Phil might have a little experience on that. Do you know offhand with your repeater, is it a DMR repeater that you have?
No, it's analog. But I think Moto Turbo is just their name for DMR. I don't think there's a I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think there's a different version that
Right.
Moto uses versus any other DMR.
That's what I thought too. Somebody had mentioned it at breakfast. I can't even remember who it was. I mean, it was Sean. I don't know. We're at that end of the table there. So anyway, son, we'll check into that. But my assumption until we hear otherwise, we'll have to confirm that. All right. Our frequency band duplex spacing. Well, we know all that. 6 kilohertz. Here it says plus or minus 5 or plus or minus 6. Power capability in band. Okay, well, this is we'll take a look at that. 100 watts on every band. Well, we only need one band, the VHF band, but it also does UHF too. So we'll check that out. Cooling, of
Their
course.
repeater does both UHF and VHF? The one repeater?
I believe it
It's
does.
one or the other.
Standby.
It's
Yeah, I
one
think
or the other.
Oh, one or the other. Yes, one or the other.
Yeah, one,
Sorry, it
not
wasn't
both.
clear. Not
The only
simultaneously.
repeater I know that does both is the Fusion. It's a Yaesu Fusion.
Well, that's right. Our Fusion. Well, hold on. When you say it does both, there is the dual mode where you can do FM, I mean analog or DMR,
Hmm.
right? So
No, I'm talking
it's
about
not-
frequency.
not dual band.
Wait, what are we
Yeah.
talking about? What
It
are we
has nothing
talking
to do with the
I'm
band.
sorry. I'm getting all mixed up. You're right.
Yes,
For the time being,
both.
we just need it on VHF, but if, like we did with the Yaesu, it was VHF and we moved it and we just retuned it to the UHF side. So yes, it does both, but not simultaneously. I didn't mean to.
Well, again, your SLR. I
Yeah.
am pretty sure does not have the capability to do both, and that you can select one or the other. You usually buy them in most Motorola. I think almost all Motorola products have either UHF or they're VHF or some other band. I don't know of anything really that Motorola does. It's multi-band except for some of their higher end uh,
Right.
handhelds and things. Like the one Sean has.
All
But
right. So look at this for a second. Let me just jump there. I can answer that question in one click if I could fly. All right. So here we have, these are the features of the SLR 8000. Okay. Okay. I was just
with
looking at this continuous duty.
with
Yes. Here
appropriate modules, yeah.
what?
So maybe you could swap out a module and it could become a different band. Maybe they've done that, but I don't think you could have more than one in a time.
You know what? Good point. I'll double check that. That's a good point. I don't know. Great. Okay. Uh, where was I here now? Um, hold on. Let me go back to where we were. So, all right. Okay. So here's where we were. So these are we want the standard interfaces, all that kind of stuff, right? So we went through that. So we'll check these options here. All right. So for example, this has to all be answered. I think I have the answer to the channel. I just didn't know. Are we 12 and a half? We're not 25. That's way too wide. I think we're 12 and a half kilohertz spacing in Michigan on the
Digital is 12 and a half and analog is 25.
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. All right. Let me.
And Joe, I just want to back up one thing you mentioned about when you're going through the options. You said for the wireline that you weren't going to do that.
Right.
Now, you got to be careful about this because, like, in my Motorola repeater,
Yeah.
there's which is it's a MTR 2000. It has a number of interfaces and it has that wireline interface. The wireline is usually where you get your processed audio. It's filtered and stuff. It doesn't like there's like three different output connectors on my repeater. And I know there's different audios that come out of different one, but the wireline, I'm pretty sure, is the one that you want to use for your audio output and your audio input. That's so you might not want to search that more before you say no.
Okay. I didn't understand it that way. What I was thinking, and maybe not, I'll give you an example. When I saw wireline, like we use the four wires to go between when the unit radio's up on like the top of a building rooftop somewhere, and then there's like a super consulate down in the office area.
Yeah.
And the four wire connects the two. That's what I was thinking. But you bring out an interesting point. I mean, that's feeding. Yeah, you're right. It's feeding audio into the transmitter. You're right.
Yeah, it's like one of the other outputs is a pure discriminator output,
Yeah.
which you do want if you're going to decode PL. Whereas if you try to pull that off the wireline, it's probably not there. It's probably filtered.
Right.
So there's different levels of thing, but for Sean would really be the one to ask about the wireline.
Yeah.
He
All
knows
right.
a lot about that. So
Yeah. Good point.
I'm
Okay.
just telling you to research it before you decide not to do it.
Absolutely. And that's why we're talking about it. All right. So we'll get that checked out. Transmit power, we got 100% continuous, yes. Mode of operation, digital DMR. Oh, here, this one. This check mark goes down here. Mixed analog plus digital. Okay, that's the mode of operation. So it can do either analog or digital, and somehow it figures it out. And we should probably know more about that specifically, but for now, we'll just leave it at that.
Do you ever plan to run it, run DMR off this site?
Yes, we do, because that would give us three platforms. It would give us analog at both the VHF and UHF site. It gives us fusion at the UHF site and gives us DMR at the VHF site. So that gives us the three platforms. I
And
think.
just so people understand, if you do that, if you're an analog guy and you're listening without PL for any reason, the DMR comes on, it's gonna sound like a
Yeah,
digital noise. People are like,
yeah.
what the hell is that? But so
Right. That's right. I think for purpose of ordering at this point, how we operate will have to fall into the new operating
I'm sure
procedure.
that's just a programming thing.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll get that. All right, next, power redundancy. So I mean, I just looking at this off the top of my head, well, obviously we want the AC input at 100, the AC input there. Battery, if we have battery backup, 12 volts or 24 volts, uh, built-in battery charger, redundant power supply, hot swap module. So we have two power supplies. If one fails, it automatically swaps over to the other one. So there's that. Then we have the filtering. This is the the bandpass filter.
You definitely want that.
Yeah, we definitely want that, right? This TR, this switch, I'm not sure what that's about. This is the four wire we're talking about. Well, we have a lot of this. As far as the antenna is, here's something interesting. The GPS. We never ordered a GPS receiver. We probably should have one, I suppose. Okay. Next, interface control networking. Well, Ethernet. We definitely want Ethernet here. Two ports, IP interface. I guess you could be on two separate LANs, I suppose. Um, uh, the National LAN Remote Control License software. Okay, that's interesting. A DB25 accessory connector for alarms and things like that. Probably that would be a good thing. Status telemetry lines, local front control. Yes, we would want to be able to do that. And remote RF voting support. Now, this is something I'd like to learn a little bit more about. Remote RF voting support, analog voting interface. Very interesting.
That's so you can use your radio and make the changes from your radio as opposed to the internet Wi-Fi.
You're talking about the RF voting support?
I think that's what they're mean there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, by the way,
So we'll have that. We'll check that out.
just so you know, your telemetry lines, the RC210 controller can do things with those.
With what? I'm sorry. What lines did you say?
The fourth one down, telemetry lines, voltage, temperature, fan, things like that. You can run those into the auxiliary port of the RC210 and make it do things.
Oh, right. You definitely. All right. Rack mount kit, of course. The front accessible control doors.
I would hope in this new unit that we would be able to have the power automatically drop to whatever percentage we would deem necessary. But if we're running on auxiliary power, battery power, we'd want it to drop down maybe 50%.
Well,
have the ability to do that.
That's probably in the programming software. On mine, it has something like that. It says RF power under battery or under full power. So as long as you have a way for it to know that it's switched.
Right. Okay. Okay. Let me put this away here. Um, okay. So that's all that. Firmware. So we'll work with the vendor on choosing the best selections here. There's a lot to consider, and we don't want to get what we don't need, but we definitely want what we do need. So here, calibration testing, documents, deliverables, all that sort of stuff. Factory alignment, of course, we certainly want that. Our SWR measurement report, FCC compliance certificate, all that sort of stuff to consider there. Here are those cables, the serial cables, RF jumpers, connector kits, so on. All right, so here are just a few things. After we order the SLR 8000 modules, fully support analog FM and the mixed mode, because that's what we're really interested in, FM and mixed mode, as requested. And then once we have the operational aspect of it, we'll figure out operationally how we figure out the mix between the digital and the analog. All modules will be factory integrated, aligned, and tested. Third-party or optional boards will not void the warranty. This is a good point to follow up on. Spare modules should be, well, I don't know that we'll be ordering spare modules. We'll see how we look when we come out of the other end of this. If we have the money left over, that's one place where it could go is some extra modules, particularly an extra power supply or an extra HPA. Okay, these are some of the features and functions, and it goes on. This is a lot of what we had originally considered when we first were going through the various options available to us. All right, so now what do? We want to order this. So there's two ways that we can order this. One person will get all of the proposals, or, which I think is a lot more reasonable, is if everybody takes one company, like for example, here we have something called two-way radio gear, which is pretty, uh, which has a good offer here, $5,300 there. Then we have the North Georgia Communications there, and they have oh, this isn't the right slide, but they also uh, carry the unit. I did have a slide that had the cost on it, but somehow it got lost. Then this was the Sandy's communication is what Sean had recommended. You could see up here, this is the email Sean sent me. These are the source for Central Michigan uses. And so, okay, we can put out a request to them. Oh, here it is. The North Georgia Communications. They had their does it say here? I don't see the cost. I see the specifications. So, and then we also
That was a
had,
UHF. Did you notice that?
oh, I did. You're right. Look at that, UHF. Okay, good. Thank you. Good point. Good point. Well,
You better make sure on those other ones too.
yeah, yeah. And then here, Edge Tech is yet another one here. A little bit on the pricey side, but you know,
Doesn't
the,
say again. Oh, you have to look up what a T8319 is. Yeah.
yeah, and what modules are actually in it. And then Fisher Wireless here is yet another. So these are the vendors that I'm aware of. Oh, one more. Sorry, one more. So here we have the SLR 8000 for $4,500 here. So All right, and that's it. And then this is we're not going to go this far. Controller, we're going to stop right there for now. So blue sat. So I need a little help here. I have the RFQ, the request for quotation. I will have it finalized. I have it ready to go, but I got to make a few changes in it. Now we know some more information we didn't know before. But I really need three volunteers if to pick a vendor of your choice. I need three volunteers who could help navigate our way through these vendors, get the quotes, then we can meet here next week. We'll go through the quotes, decide what we want to do, and we can write the purchase order. So, so if so, I would, if I had to recommend people perfect for the job, I would say Len would be one person. I would say Hugh could be another person, and I need is there any volunteers who might want to reach out and help us before? No volunteers.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not currently a member,
I, right. I
but I could probably help you out with that. I'm recovering from surgery, so I've
I
got
see
time.
that. How did that go? Yeah, everything all right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got time. I can't drive myself anywhere, so I've got a lot of time on my hands.
Oh, that would be so helpful, Phil. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So just arbitrarily, who do you have any preference? Let's go back to the top. So we have
You
two.
know, Joe, there's Anderson Radio in Bay City too. They're local.
Oh, are they? Okay. We like local. We like local. So Al, I have a great idea. Al, would you mind joining the team here? Can you reach out to Anderson for us? I'll send you all the document. All you have to do is really just talk to them and tell them
Well,
who.
Joe, I mentioned last week, yeah, I was
Yeah,
surprised that I was waiting to get something in the mail at that point,
Yeah.
but I
Oh,
didn't receive anything. So I figured, well, you got everything squared away with Bearcom. So very good. I still think we should have Phil go ahead and put a quote in for Kenwood. So that way we compare apples to apples. That's just my opinion.
well, we could do that. I mean, Phil, what do you think about that? I mean, it's not that.
well, I told you last time, as I said, even though I am working for a Kenwood dealer,
Yeah.
if it was me starting from scratch, I would definitely go with Motorola. Um, but Kenwood is the lower cost option, and if
Yeah.
that's an issue, I mean, it's good equipment. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just,
Right.
I'm not sure they even make a 100-watt repeater. I know they have 40 watters, and they're like this big. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We took one out to a site and tested it. It was, smaller than most mobile radios these days.
Wow.
And this is 40 watt, but you can put an amplifier on it.
Right.
Yeah, but if somebody if that's the way you guys want to go, I will be happy to research that.
Well, we want to make sure. I mean, I would say we have been planning on the Motorola. We did look at it somewhat, not knowing that you were you working with Kenwood there, but we keep it open at this point. I would like to say this, by next week at this time, I would like to place the order. That's the goal. And if we can do it within that time frame, great. And then if not, then maybe we'll move on. But so let's just say this. So I'll send an email out, and unless somebody has a particular choice here, well, you know what? I'll send out the email to everybody on this call, and that's Len and Mark and Les and Phil and John and Hugh and Al and Mark. And we can figure out who wants to do what, I guess, that way, and give us some thought. But I think these are all perfectly legitimate companies here, and that would work out great. And I will get that RFQ tidied up a little bit, and we'll get that out to everybody.
Now you're
Yeah,
going to
so
assign we're going to assign which dealer that each one of us are going to. It doesn't matter to me which one I call, but I don't think you want everybody calling all of them.
I don't. So I was thinking this. I was thinking this. So uh, I think the North Georgia Communications is a contender here. And I thought, Len, I don't know, you're from the South. It's like your neighborhood there, sort of, kind of.
I'm from the South.
No, I mean,
He's gonna go south.
no. That was
which
silly.
is
I don't
which
know.
is the dealer that Sean said he sent you an
This
email
one.
about?
This one, Sandy's. That's Sean's.
I could take that one if you
Okay,
want.
all right. You'll take this one. All right. It's Sandy's Communications. Do that. So we have that one. We have the North Georgia one, Edutech. This is, I think, a little pricey for compared to the others. So probably Fisher Wireless and BlueSat.
So you're gonna send us all the basically your slides showing all everything that you want in the system.
Yes. Yeah, I'll have an RFQ with everything listed. Everything listed. And we'd like these line by line, like if we needed to take something out, it's a little bit over budget or whatever, if that's possible. So
And do you have, I know this is all part of a grant. So do you have
right.
is there a budget for just the repeater? Is there a,
Well, yes,
okay.
there is. What we have here, hold on, I'm getting there. Bear with me here, please. So what I did just rough numbers. We went through this originally. So this is the antenna order. So here, just roughly based on the various
6,000.
advertisements that I've seen. So 6,000,
Okay.
we should be able to get one for 6,000 plus or minus
Okay.
Plus tariffs.
10% contingency in that.
All right.
So Phil, if you'll do that, and Len, do you have a choice? Do you care who you call on
Not really.
one way or the other? All these? Where was I here? Hold on, I'm trying to find my way here. Here we go. Okay, so Len, do you have a preference?
No, I don't have a preference.
Okay, so I don't know. You have a choice between the North Georgia or the two-way radio gear company. Those are two competitive bids. Take your choice, whatever you
Which one is closer?
closer. You know what? I don't know where they are. These folks here. I do not know. Area code 772. I'll tell you where that is. Hold on. Just a second. So that would be.
So they all have the same product. We're just looking for
Oh, so that's Florida. Okay.
so
It's like
it's going to be all the same brand and same model that we're
Yeah.
just comparing.
Yeah. All you got to do is hand in the sheet with all the requirements on it, and it'll have everything to go. And it's just really, it's more establishing a relationship with the salesperson who, if we choose to go with that particular company, is going to be our partner for some time to come. So establishing that relationship is really important. All right. And then who else is going to do this? I had three people. Len, Phil. Oh, Al. Al, you were going to check on your company there, right? The one you had mentioned. What was the name of it again, please? In Bay City, you said?
Right. Well, there's Anderson Radio in Bay City.
Yeah.
I don't think you have ComUSA. I don't think you have Atlantic Radio Corp. I know you
Yeah.
have two-way radio. Radiosource.com. That's another one.
Okay. I
Well,
think
I have three that you don't even have.
you do. Well, if you could beat the price right now, the going price, hold on. Whoops, where am I going here? Second. Right now, the price to beat, I think is this one, $5,300. If you can beat that price, that's what, we'll do it. Wait, with the modules that we need. And again, we'll have that all laid out for everybody
It'd be a
tomorrow.
good idea to do a little bit of research, either through their website or something like that, to find out what services, information, background, uh, there may be other things that aren't really on the surface. There's more than just price, I would think. Who we want to be
Well,
with.
we want the price. We want obviously a company that's well established and has the resources to provide service and help getting it on the air. Programming it is going to be an activity that is always a challenge. Things of that sort, yeah, for sure. And all these companies I looked at, they're all major companies and and so on. So
I have a question also.
they have good web pages. Let me put it that way. If they're the company that it shows up on the web page, if that's like the same thing, then that's good. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, we're up against time too, so don't we also,
Yeah.
very important to know what the lead time on an order for delivery is going to be with each of these companies.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yep. We need availability, price and availability, basically. Price and availability. And with the options that we're looking for, yeah. All right.
What have we found out about the deadline?
Now, if you could focus on getting the quotes, I'll deal with it. We're going to be okay.
Well, I was kind of in Al's back in Al's pocket with this too, is
Yeah.
how much time do we need? Because it takes time to get an extension. It's not something that a lot of uh, grantee or grantors will give right away. So
Yeah.
I would suggest getting something in soon just
Yeah.
to have it in your pocket in case you need it.
Okay. I don't disagree with you.
Well,
I'm
last meetings I've heard you have been, and that's why I'm a little concerned.
well, I think the idea with Bearcom, they're not interested. They're just not interested. I mean, they were, you know, maybe they were a little bit, but I'm not getting any response. And the attention that I've been getting from them, if that's the kind of attention we get from them, we don't want to do business with them. I think that they're into bigger projects and so on. So it pretty much at this point looks like we'll be ordering this equipment. It'll be delivered in Len's garage, and we'll hook it. We'll have to put, and we have the rack, so we'll have to start putting it in and building it ourselves pretty much at this point, which is not that horrible of an idea. And also David, which I didn't Dave Rafferty, I didn't realize this, but he was a cableman. That was one of his jobs there for a while, so he knows how to do harnessing. I'm sure John AAAUU may want to be involved, and if he doesn't want to be involved, we want him to be involved. So hopefully that will come through for us, and some of the others to help put this together. So that's the current thinking.
Joe, I had one question back about the controller. You said something about RC210s being out of production.
Yeah, yeah, they're
Who told you that?
I read it somewhere and I wish I would have saved it, but it was it must have been on their webpage because it described the problems they were having during the shutdown and during the chip shortage. And because of the chips shortage and all that, they said they're not going to produce them anymore. I must have read it on their webpage would be my.
Well, I'm looking at their webpage right now.
Yeah, do you see anything?
No, it's got a thing. I could order one right now.
Get out. You're kidding. Okay.
So, and as far as, and I'm on their email group thing, and
Oh,
I have not seen a single thing. And the owner is on there frequently, and I've
Wow.
not seen a single message that says anything about them being out of production.
Well, this may have been an article. They were out of production. Maybe they went back into production. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know, and I don't remember the exact source. I just remember reading that and thinking, oh boy. But that's good news. That is very good news.
I will, yeah, I can reach out to him on the mail list and see what he knows.
Could you, yeah, and do the units today have direct internet interface, or do we still? Because
Now, that was my next question is, that one thing I didn't see in your thing was if you want to remote control it, you're going to need a remote PC there. You can go
you're
wireless.
right. You know what? Let me write that down. You're right. I left it off. Yeah, I totally I forgot, and I meant to put that
I mean,
on.
you can get one of those little tiny
Yeah,
units that they sell, it doesn't have to be much,
yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah,
and have some remote control software on it,
yeah,
like TeamViewer or something. And that's because, yeah, they do that. I sure wish he developed something like that. That'd be great.
yeah.
But as of right now, you need
You
you
still
need
need
that.
it. Okay.
And of course, I'm offering to help with once you get it to actually set up. I got that down cold. I know that
Okay.
interface extremely well. So I
Yeah.
can make it do whatever you want it to do, dance on its tiptoes or something. I don't know.
Well,
Whatever.
that would be great. Well, we could order it. Let me just take a look at it real quick. Hold on. Let me see if I could pull this up here. I had it here a second ago.
Let me just double check. Let's see here.
Here. So this is it, and it's the only. Oh, this is now goes into the voter. We don't have time this week, but next week, and we'll get Andrew I'd like him to do the presentation. It was really quite thorough, I must say. Did a great job. But I mean, we could conceivably order this next week. We certainly don't have much choice in this department because there's not a lot of a product available for us. So perhaps our goal would be for next week to order both the repeater and the controller.
Yeah, I'll check with the group then, and I'll put up a
Okay,
thing there saying there's any.
great.
All right.
Great. Thank you, Phil. Thanks. All right. All right. All right. So we did that. We did that. What else we have here? Oh, so okay. I'm going to leave this for Andrew. He's got this. He has got this like you wouldn't believe. So actually, I'll just real quickly. I just show you. Where do I have it? Is it, what I thought I had it open somewhere, but I do not.
If we go over budget and we get this thing up and running, are we going to start thinking about selling some or all of the old system?
I, you know, I don't think we're going to be over budget, number one. So would be a good place to end up. If we are, I wouldn't sell the new set. First of all, I don't know there's much of a market for it. But number two, it's a good backup for us to have and to keep it in place. And if in the future, on a future project, when we start talking about remote receive sites and we talk about Oakland and places like that, it would just make sense. I don't know. It doesn't make sense
But
to
we got
tear
time to
apart.
think about it.
Yeah. And the other thing about it too is we can't take the old repeater off the air till the new repeater is up and running. So that means we have to buy all the pieces for the new repeater. So we're limited in that, but something to think about. But hopefully, not a problem.
Joe, do you want these companies that are going to be quoting the repeater quote for a voter and anything else as well? Or are you going to have someone else do that?
No, for
me.
the repeater, we just deal with the repeater because they do the controller we'll get from the manufacturer. Well, let's see what they have. You know what? Don't take anything off the table. I mean, yes, we're open to if one provider could provide everything. I don't think they could, but it's worth asking.
Well,
Definitely.
keep that in the RFQ that you email to us. So
Okay.
maybe a separate line item or something.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anyway, but next week we will focus on that. It's about a 15 slide presentation, very detailed as Andrew often is, and we'll take a look at that. So, all right, does anybody have anything else? If not, we'll say good night and thanks for dropping by. And we will be in touch. I will get the RFQ out here within the next 24 hours. And we'll move on. And hopefully we'll be seeing some product delivered sometime soon. All right. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Take care. In 73.